Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Miss Jackson. Amen. We're going to be talking about love and marriage in this upcoming issue of Jmade magazine. And what I want to, well, it's not an introduction because she's been on my show before. And y'all probably have heard, read her article in our first issue of Jmade magazine. So going into February, being the month of love, I have Sister Mama Sonya on the line. And we're
hello.
Now. All right now. And we're going to talk back and forth. Sister Mama Sonya, how you doing?
I'm doing just wonderful. It's just a blessing to be in your presence, albeit through the radio.
Amen. It is always an honor, amen, to get an opportunity to talk with such a great woman of God, and you know what, Sister Mama Sonya, God bless you also to be a woman of resource too. And that's a gift and a talent, to be able to be resourceful, especially for people who are in need, Well, in this issue, first I want to do a little mini, I guess you can say, a little mini bio for love and marriage.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about your marriage and how long you've been married, and then we'll dive into what keeps you two together.
Well, it's odd, but I guess it was fake. Mm-hmm. My husband was born November 25th. I was born November 26th. At one point, we were probably the only two little black babies in Harlan Hospital. He's 17 hours older than me. So we have really, I guess, been connected since birth.
Oh, my.
We've been. It will be 30 years, March the 24th of this year, 2014. We were married 30 years.
My God, just to say something right in there, 30 years, Sister Mama Sonya. And which brings me to my next question. I'm gonna get into how did you meet and all that, but the question that I always get communication on this question. What keeps you together?
Well, one thing, when we made those vows, mm-hmm. we said, in sickness and in health till death do us part. And we meant that. We didn't go into the marriage thinking, oh, well, if it don't work, we can get a divorce. That was never our thought. Mm. And my husband, I said, boy, that sounds like graveyard love. He says, I'm not going nowhere and you can't leave. Mm. So don't really about that. We will be there together.
Amen. And I believe he meant that.
Yes, he did.
Praise Jesus. Praise. And it's amazing. We hear today that in the Christian community, Black community, the divorce rate is very, very high, very high. And but that's one of the things I want you to think about, because we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the broadcast. But just share with us, how did you two meet?
Well, I sang as a part of the gospel group, Jackie Sat in Revelation, and his sister sang with it also. One day we were getting ready to go to an evening event, and she was sitting in the car with her brother, and I just got in the car and they were saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Well, I had been at the night before. This was 36 years ago. The night before, I had been at a event at UH, and we were. It had been a dance-a-thon, so I'd been up all night. My legs were hurting. I was tired. I was sleepy. So when I got in the back of the car, I said, "Oh, my legs hurt." So he said, "Put it up here." So I stuck my leg through the seat. Mm-hmm. And he started rubbing on my leg. I said, "What you rubbing on my leg for?" He said, "Evidently you must want me to touch it. You wouldn't have put it up there." Uh-oh. Okay, now I didn't know his full name at the time. Uh-huh. Then back in the day, we used to wear black lipstick, right? Mm-hmm. So I had on my little black lipstick. "What you doing putting with that mess on your lips? You know you don't need that. Just sit down without it. You don't tell me what to put on my lips." Oh, we just going back and forth. It was hilarious. I mean, it was crazy. I didn't even know this man. And so, we went on to sing, and I gave him my number. He called me that night, and after we talked about 4 o'clock in the morning. And as they say, the rest is history.
Wow.
We dated for like 6 years. For 3 of those years, I moved away and went to law school in Austin. And he was here in Houston. But when I came back, we got married, and the rest is history.
Wow. So how did he propose?
At the Hyatt Regency. Before, this is talking about 35 years ago. 36 years ago. The revolving restaurant at the top of the Hyatt Regency. Before they had all the tall buildings, you could actually see something. Now you just see buildings. And it was called a Spindle Top. I think it was a Spindle Top. Whatever that restaurant was, we went to the top, and he proposed.
Wow.
Overlooking Houston. Very romantic.
Oh. And then, I always ask this question when I'm talking to married couples, for this issue. Did you have a wedding?
Oh, we had a huge wedding.
Oh.
They said weddings are really for parents, right?
Right.
My mother, put it like this, my mother invited her college roommate to the wedding. It was that kind of stuff. The lady had been she lived in New York. She'd been in Houston even till the week before. She flew back to come to the wedding. I had a wedding party of about 26, I think. Yeah, because I had, with the bridesmaids, nothing, probably 30 when you counted the ushers and everything. It was a huge wedding party. And there was probably, I would say, anywhere between, I guess, between like 900. 900, almost 1,000 people at the wedding.
Wow. Hey, man, I always like to share those details because some people feel like if you have a wedding, it'll last. If you go to the courthouse, it won't last and all this. But I'm finding out in this research, Sister Mama Sonya, that has nothing to do with that marriage lasting. Nothing. And I believe a lot of people are getting married for the wedding. They get prepared for the wedding, but they don't get prepared for the marriage.
That's right. After you just said something. I can see a play or article or something called "After You Say I Do."
Come on.
Wait a minute. No. After the last piece of cake is gone.
Ooh. Exactly. What you gonna do then?
What happens then?
What happens then? And which brings us into the meat of this interview, which is, me and you have been going back and forth on this topic for a minute now.
Yeah, we have.
And that underlying thing, that clause, that divorce clause, that I come in with a way out, and that's the view of marriage today. I get with you, I marry you, but I always got a way out.
I always got a way out,
which is really trumps the prenup, because I already trumps it anyway. When you marry me and you already got in your head that if this don't work out,
I already got a way out.
That negative thing. So what I really want to get into the after the wedding. Okay, we had the wedding, all the family is gone, and we got to live together.
That's right.
Come on now. Right. You got your way of doing things, and I got mine.
I put my toilet paper on the roll with it rolls down. You put it where it rolls up. All right.
So how do we make it? How do you get through those times? And let's talk about when illness hits. When it's let's talk about the myth of 50-50, 100-100. Let's get into that.
Yeah. I guess I want to touch on, I think what's the part that has been the most challenging is when you're dealing with illnesses. In the course of 30, really within the last, I guess 7 years with us. You've had 8 years now. My husband had the herniated intestine. Came home from church one night from choir rehearsal. He said his stomach was hurting. I said, okay, go take a Pepsi-Bismol.
Mhm.
Go to the bathroom, go have a good one, and it kept getting worse and worse. He said, look, I'm going to the hospital. You can stay here, I'm going. So I drove him there, got there. Come to find out, he had a herniated intestine.
My
They
God.
said had I not gotten him there, he would be on an ostomy bag today.
Wow.
That was in 2006, I guess around spring.
Mhm.
Then in March of 2000, March of 2007, he had I had gone to my parents' house because I had eye surgery. Whenever I would get sick, I would go to mom and daddy's. Okay, I've been married now over 20-some years, but I would still go to mom and daddy's. Because while he was at work, I needed somebody to take care of me because I couldn't see that day. So he asked me to come to the hospital with him. Went to the hospital, got there. So my eye was all red and crazy, and the doctor looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, well, I just had eye surgery, and I can't see. Then the doctor said, you know what, that's a sad state of affairs. You got a woman who can't see being driven by a man whose lung collapsed. My husband had to go to the hospital because he said he couldn't breathe.
My God.
His lungs collapsed in the middle of the night.
Oh,
we
my
were
God.
told that most people who lung collapse while they're sleeping die because they can't remember. They can't breathe. They don't remember to breathe.
Wow.
Like I said, my husband had been a smoker for 30 years, but he had quit smoking maybe about 2 or 3 years before that, but the damage is already done.
Yeah.
He had more blibs on his lungs, they said, than anybody they've seen in a long time.
Wow.
So that was in March the 3rd. Now, I remember this 07 was just a tremendous year because on March the 23rd, day before my wedding anniversary, my mother went into the hospital, and my mother died April 17th. So all during this time, now my husband's recovering from lung surgery. I found out at the time that lung surgery is the most delicate surgery. It is more delicate than brain surgery or even heart surgery. That's what the doctors told us. So he was, it was serious. He has on his other lung, he still has some blibs, but they couldn't take care of it because they don't do prophylaxis on lungs because it's so delicate. They're not gonna go in and fix it until they have to fix it. So doctors said his other lung collapse at any time. But I serve a God that it's at any time yet. So
yeah,
it wasn't funny, but he said, let's go when he's 80. I said, well, let's wait till he's 80. Then I probably would have done everything I want to do with it by then. So we got time on that, and then the Lord got a little agreement. 80, okay? So then that summer he started. This is still in 2007 now. When my mother has died, he's had that ailment, with his lungs. He started saying he couldn't see. Well, his vision kept coming in. Went to the doctor. Our doctor said, we need to take you let's see a neurologist. Went to the neurologist. Long story short, he had a massive brain tumor.
My God.
From the summer, from August, like in 2 weeks, it had gone from like 2.0 centimeters to 4.6. When they operated, it was over 5.0 centimeters, or whatever it is in his brain. After the surgery, it was like a 5 or 6 hour brain surgery. The doctors told us to be ready for. When you have your brain, a lot of times you have to learn how to walk, talk. You become like a child.
Right.
Over again. He said, be prepared for all of that. So, I was prepared for long recuperation. Once he woke up, the doctor went up to him. He says, hello, what's your name? My husband said, Craig. He said, what's my name? My husband said, what you mean? You don't know your own name? He said, what day it is? What do you mean what day it is? I've been in surgery. You ought to know. Every question he asked, he had a smart comeback. The doctor looked at it, and he says he had never seen anybody, very rarely seen anybody come out of brain surgery on it. I mean, sometimes, you're fuzzy.
Yeah.
No, right on it. He did lose sight in his right eye as a result of the brain surgery because he was told if he didn't have the brain surgery, he would definitely die. Right. If he did have the brain surgery, we prepared for all the complications. So it was a no-brainer. You might as well get the surgery, Right. But praise be to God, the